guys, this is modelrailwaytech and welcome to the first proper ever video. Now, as you can see on the screen, we are presenting today to you the point motor project. So I hope you enjoy, and this is all about how you can control one of your points with one motor and one switch. So let's get started.
So first off, you need to start by looking at where your point motor is going to go. Mine's going to go on this point just here. So that means we need to prepare the area. So this is what a prepared area should look like. Basically, it's quite hard to show you on camera, but I'll just take the camera off the tripod. Basically, up there, you should see a point hole. Basically, if I come up to the top, here you can see this hole here. That hole's always in any Hornby points. Now basically, that hole is where the point motor needle comes up and moves this. So there needs to be enough space for the point motor to be able to get the needle in there. So that's what I mean by preparing your area. So if I get a point motor, then that should fit in quite nicely. So now we just need to move on to the electronics. You can see that there is quite a big hole there, but that can be easily blocked up with some ballast. So when I said the point motor needle, I meant this. Now basically the point motor sticks onto the baseboard this way up. So the baseboard is here, and then obviously you need that hole for the point motor to go through. Now if there's only one hole, it wouldn't be able to move. But now that we've drilled not just that hole but all those out, it means it can move side to side like it's supposed to. So basically we need to set the point motor up. Now John didn't actually ever use any of these A, C, D, E, F or B points. He always used to use those points. I don't know why, maybe it's because that's for DCC. But all my points are going to be controlled on DC, even when I don't have DC anymore. I'll still control them by DC. So, because it just gets too complicated otherwise, and I can't really be faffing about with that. So, basically I just need to put the soldering iron in. Right, that's done. Just wait for it to warm up now. Basically, to do it on DC, which the tutorial is on, you need an A wire going to the switch. This is a switch here. A wire going to the switch. A wire going to the switch. C wire going to your power for the point motor. Then we don't need any of them, and we need a B wire doing the exact same as the A wire but on the opposite side. And then one more wire for the power for this switch. So while you're waiting for your soldering iron to warm up, you basically need to measure out some wire. So let's go to the place, back to the place where our point is being laid. So our point motor is the one furthest to that hole, just there. The one over on the far bit of the track. So basically we need to get some wire, just here, and put the wire from the controller, just rest it under something, and then roll it to the point motor, and that should stretch quite nicely. And then you do an extra coil or something just to make sure there's enough. So then you need to get some pliers and trim it. and I can't find my pliers. There they are. You just need to trim your wire And then you'll have to do that for all of the different wires, so you'll have to measure it going from the switch, wherever your switches are going to be. So you'll measure it going from the switch to the controller and stuff like that, and the switch to the point motor. So now I'll head back over to the desk and soldering this wire. Right, so we just got back in time and the soldering iron is now warmed up. So basically what we need to do before we do any soldering is strip the ends of our wires. So we can do this by putting the end of the wire on the table. You can get wire strippers, but they're a bit of a rip-off really. You just peel the end of the wire off, cut it off with a knife, making sure you don't cut any of the wire underneath. It usually works quite well, this method actually. Today it's not working, it must be camera shy. Already that's damaged some of the wires. You have to be careful with this method that you don't damage any of the wires. So then you just have to cut them off and start again. Right, so let's get our end. There we are. And now you strip the opposite end to it, and it should just peel away. There we are. Now what you need to do is, this is the end that's going into the controller, so this end obviously needs to be twisted. If we do the same to the other end, exact same to the other end, only make it a bit shorter because it's going to the point motor, this one. There we are. And this time, don't do anything with that wire. This is where your soldering iron comes in. Now you cannot do this job without a soldering iron, so don't say you can fit point motors without a soldering iron. You cannot fit these PM1 SEEP point motors by Gauge Master without a soldering iron. You may be able to fit those silly little Hornby ones, but they're really not very good. So what you do is, you don't need your wire at the moment actually, so you can just put that down. What you actually need is your soldering iron. So you get the soldering iron and you just get a bit of solder on it. And be careful not to burn yourself. Make sure you're in a well ventilated area and don't do it just before you go to bed, because then you'll be sat in solder fumes. Try and get the lead free solder as well. And you just gently brush all that solder you just put onto your iron onto the wire. Now careful, the wire will heat up very quick and travel down wherever you're holding it on. This basically just strengthens it and makes it sort of like duck feet. So duck's feet are like our hands basically, but they actually have webs. They're actually like webbed in between, and this helps it stay together in the right position. So we can move off fingers. Same with the wire. They can move the wires apart. But when we put that solder on, it basically locks it so they can't move about. That's what we want. So now it won't move about as easily, and it will help us putting it on. So we need to look back to our diagram, and we find out that the power wire from the point motor to the controller is number C, which is actually the one marked number C. So then you need to get something nice and heavy. I usually use this masking tape holder, and then you just get some. Again, you always need to get some solder on your iron first, because it makes the job a lot easier. And then you get your wire that you've just tinned. The method is called tinning that we just did. And beware, this could like mess up the tinning a bit, but it doesn't matter. Then you just place it on C, and obviously just heat it up. What I like to do is actually just get a bit of solder on C first. And then if we get our wire, you just need to apply heat to it. It can take quite a while actually to get it just right, so that it actually sticks. Now if you're very good at soldering, it may take you, I don't know, like a couple of seconds, but I'm not very good with soldering irons. There we are. So now I have that stuck on to the thing. Now to give it some extra support, I'm just going to solder a bit more solder on. Beware, because this can just loosen the joint again. There we are, it just loosened it. But you do need to try and do that, because otherwise it loses its strength a bit. There we are. There we are. Perfect. So now you've done that joint, you just need to do the same for A. So you need a wire going from your A section on the point motor to your switch, and it doesn't matter which side, it just has to be one of those. And then obviously you do vice versa, B to the one that's not filled, and then in the middle one, this goes from your switch to the power source, and then you're good to go really. Yes, you are good to go. So I'll do that and then I'll show you how to install it onto the track. Right guys, so I have soldered everything. That took me about an hour to do. Not even that, maybe half an hour, because I did have lots of breaks and I just came back to it whenever I felt like it really. So, if I just get the two wires that we need to place in to the thing, they haven't been, one's been stripped, the other one I just need to strip now. So basically they go into the controller output, and it powers, one of the wires powers the actual point motor itself, and one of it powers the switch. So yeah, have the two wires here, and we'll see if we can fit them into the same socket, but we might not be able to. So it goes into uncontrolled. Yes, they do fit into both into the same socket. So now we just need to fit the actual point motor into the track. So here you can see the place where we need to apply the point motor. So what we need to do is underneath the baseboard, stick the hole like that. Now you can see that is way too big, and if a train was to run over it, it would just stick up way too much. So what we actually need to do is trim it. So that's what I'm going to do. You just have to trim it so it's nice. So it's not too short, but at the same time it's better to be longer and trim it a bit more than it to be too short and then you're sort of stuck really. So I always trim it about halfway to start with, just past halfway, and then you can see where to go from there. So you can see there's still a little bit sticking up, so I'll just trim a tiny little bit off. And there we are, you can see it is actually almost the perfect length. Actually, it is a really good length. Yes, it is a perfect length. So now you just want to get some blue tack, and on the underside of your point motor, which is the blue shiny bit, you want to stick some blue tack there. You can use screws, but blue tack's a bit better because it holds it nicely and it also makes sure you can remove it easily when and if you need to. It's a bit odd. Oh, I see what's happened. Because I've added blue tack, it actually turns out that this is a little bit too small, the needle. So in this case, what you want to do is you just want to get some solder on the end and just put a little blob so it makes it taller. Right guys, and basically both points are now fitted with point motors, so we're just going to test both of them. This is the one we're concentrating on in this video, but I might as well test both of them, so let's go. There we are guys, both of them have now been tested, so yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. So basically, to control everything, I made this control panel. So basically it's pretty nice because I've drilled all the holes and switches fit in the switches fit in too good. That's good. That means I just squirt some polyfiller around. I squirt some polyfiller around the gap there, like I've done with that one, and it holds it in place, so it's nice and stiff, and it doesn't go anywhere. Then all I have to do is touch it up with the black paint. So the next point motor I'm going to do, like I said, is this one. This one just here. So look out for that on layout updates in the near future. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really do hope it helped you with setting up point motors in DC mode, because there isn't really any videos for DC on YouTube. It's always DCC. So I thought I'd do a quick DC tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Comment below your suggestions and thoughts, and I'll see you guys later. One thing to add is remember you can use heat shrink stuff to insulate the joints. I've done that on some of them, it's just I didn't do it on all of them. That's one thing I forgot to mention. That is optional of course, but it does help make your point motors more effective. So that's it from me, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.